lead us with a word of prayer.
Thank you, CEO. Let's all believe and pray. Our loving Father, we come before your presence this good morning. Thanksgiving in our hearts. Thank you, Lord, for enabling us to have this important meeting this morning. We ask, Lord, that you start with us, guide us through the entire session until we finalize, and we shall be grateful for everything that you have done for us. Be with each and every of the speaker for this session. Yes, we pray thanksgiving in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen and amen. Thank you all for joining us. And now to Dr. Ouna, who is the Director of Communication representing the CS this morning, President Abraham Samoe, the council members present, all members of the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. A very warm welcome to all of us, and thank you very much for joining us for this special session on National Land Information Management System training. Indeed, it has come at the right time, just after the launch of it by His Excellency, the President Uhuru Kenyatta. So we are glad that you're joining us, but allow us to do a bit of housekeeping today. Yes, we are online, but we just need to do a little bit of housekeeping, how we will interact today for purposes of smooth interactions. So I will ask each and every one of us to mute their videos and audios, apart from those who will be presenting. And then if you need to raise a question, kindly raise your hand. And then we'll be able to see and unmute you and to allow you to engage with us. Kindly feel free to chat with us on the chat box so that we can be able to respond to your question. A very warm welcome to all of us. Thank you very much for joining us once again. We are glad that our whole, I think now going to 200 of us are here this morning. We will not waste a lot of time. Our apologies for starting 12 minutes late, but here we are and we are glad you're joining us. So without really taking a lot of your time, just allow us to introduce this session for today and welcome our president and the rest of the speakers to speak. So why are we doing this training and why today? It is important for all of us to understand that the National Lands Information Management System is an online platform that allows ease of management of land information through a centralized portal. I think we are all aware, we saw the president launch this platform the other day. We were all involved and we were represented. So the system is a product of land reforms process that envision an efficient, transparent, and accountable land information management. And the ministry, we want really to congratulate at this point the ministry, which has done very commendable work in making this dream a reality. I think going forward, even to other generations that will come, they will appreciate the work so many of us were involved to do, and especially the ministry. And a big congratulations to our CS, Madame Farida, for this wonderful leadership. So we really want to thank the ministry even for agreeing to come and have a session with our members. Indeed, it's a privilege for us as stakeholders in the land sector to be taken through this platform today, and we'll be able to see step by step how do we go about registration, what are some of the available services, and how do you conduct even digital transaction on the platform. So today, the ministry will take to us through the ArtiSasa, the online platform that allows citizens, us as members of the institution who are big stakeholders when it comes to land issues, and other stakeholders and interested parties, and specifically for us to be able to advise members of the public on how to interact and be able to transact and also assist them. And for us, even as we transact and do business, I think it's important for us to understand why and how. So it is such an opportune moment for us to be taken through by the ministry step by step on how we interact with the system. Of course, the ministry has done this in collaboration and partnership with National Lands Commission, and I'm sure we have some of the commissioners present here, and key partners in government. So we will be able to see as key stakeholders in land, how do we even launch application, how do we engage in services, how do we transact, and many other things. Allow me not to preempt, but rather to give the opportunity to the key people who know what needs to be done. But without further ado, allow me to welcome ISK President, Mr. Abraham Samoei, to make his welcome and introductory remarks. Over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Rose, for a wonderful introduction, and a very good morning to all the members and our guests from the Ministry of Lands who are with us this morning. I think it's indeed an honor opportunity for us to go through the new platform, Ardhi Sasa, which is part of the reform process in land management. As you are aware, we've been advocating for land reform, for efficient and effective land management in this country for sustainable development. We have seen the legislative reform, the constitutional amendments, the Land Commission, the legislative reform on the Land Act. But now we are now going into the processes that aid efficient management of land. So NLIMS would be a key pillar in land administration in this country. So it's really an achievement by the ministry moving forward the land reform process. This morning, I think we are very eager and upbeat to learn what is this Ardhi Sasa platform that was launched 2 weeks ago. We've had a lot of information. I think the ministry has been doing a lot of public engagements. We've seen our CS go to the media strongly to educate the public more on the Ardhi Sasa platform and what it means to the land sector. So I think for us is to interact with the system as we would be the everyday users, so to say, as the professionals in the sector. We would be able to learn how to use it and maybe areas of further improvement. You only get to know how good a system in use. So I think from our perspective as professionals, I think we have a responsibility and also a duty to help the ministry improve on it. We've heard from the people who have interacted with the system, the shortcomings, which is normal when you are launching a big system such as this. So I think the ministry will also maybe tell us what challenges they've made, challenges they faced in the last 2 weeks or so that the system has been in use, because we were told during the launch that the old system has been switched off. So we are very eager to listen to the people from the ministry and interact with the system and possibly contribute to further improvement. So mine is just to welcome all of you and to welcome also our guests so that we have a very interactive session. I know the challenges of learning a system virtually would subsist. So I hope we will have an opportunity to interact more closely with the developers and the system people, where we see challenges to improve the system from the practitioner perspective. So thank you very much. And I wish you a very good interaction, though virtually. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President, for those wonderful introductory remarks from your end. We really appreciate you. I hope that you could invite Dr. Ouna, but not to worry, here we are. I think it's important for us also to really thank ourselves and thank the President and the Council for also ensuring we are at par with everyone else in the society by launching also our membership management system. So you can see now, at least the ministry is not leaving us behind. And that I want to thank the Council very much for that opportunity for us to be at par with what is happening around in the society. It is now my honor and privilege to invite Dr. Ouna, who is representing the CS this morning, to make his remarks, as well as invite his team and to lead us in the way forward. Thank you, Dr. Ouna, you could join us this morning. You're most welcome.
Yes, good morning. I think as Abraham has said, we are also happy today, Madam Ross, for hosting us for this particular session. We intend to engage our stakeholders on the process because it is a constitutional requirement and because we want to make this particular process as open as possible so that the stakeholders feel that they're part and parcel of this going forward. I want to thank Abraham, the president of ISK, for organizing this particular session or this webinar for the purpose of engaging you on the system. This is the beginning of a very long journey, as you must be aware. We have just done Nairobi, and we intend to do the second phase of this project, that is the metropolis, the counties of Machakos, Kajiado, Kiambu, and Murang'a. And we really need your help to have this particular process successful at the end of the day. Even in Nairobi, not fully done because we have sectional units that have not been fed into the system because of the reasons that I think, for reasons that are known to all of us on this particular platform. Some of these units were registered using the wrong law, and of course, one of the things that is required, this system requires, is it has been structured in such a way that it forces compliance. So the data on sectional units may not be fed in the system as they are right now until those parcels, those apartments are georeferenced. And I think that falls right within your docket. So we are planning to georeference apartments or sectional units before uploading them in the system to allow transactees to access data on the same. And then, of course, we have areas in Nairobi that have not been georeferenced, particularly Dagoretti. That is, the areas of Dagoretti are still, the data from that particular region have not been fed into the system. And still that still requires partnership. So thank you so much for giving us this particular opportunity. I want to indicate that this is part of the very many stakeholder engagements that we intend to have as we move forward to ensure that we have as much buy-in as we can, because the process cannot succeed without the support of key stakeholders like ISK. I don't want to say a lot at this particular point. I would want to invite the technical team that accompanied me to this webinar to take you through the system, a few things. If need be, in midway, we can have Q&A, or we can have the presentations done in full, and then we can have a plenary at the end of the day. So allow me to introduce Sarah, who's the lead our technical team, to take us through the NLIMS. Sarah, karibu. Hello, Sarah.
Well, I'll not ask good morning because I can see all of us are muted, but it is a good morning, if not for anything, but because of Ardhi Sasa. So I'm trying to share my screen, but I'll be taking you through the Artisasa platform so that we can all engage and understand what Artisasa is about. So if you have not accessed the Artisasa platform, what you can see on screen is the Artisasa homepage, which is artisasa.lands.go.ke. This is the homepage. So on the homepage, you can see what Artisasa is. It is an online platform that allows citizens, stakeholders, and interested parties to interact with land information held and processed, and processes undertaken by the government. We have the most sought after processes, which is search for properties. We also have transfer of property, ordering a plan or a document from the Department of Physical Planning, the State Department of Physical Planning. We also have the requisition or processing of a title. If you scroll down, you have a more elaborate explanation of what Artisasa is. And these key buttons right here will guide you through the homepage, and they will help you create account and understand further what Artisasa is. If you click on services, you can see we have services under the various departments. We have land registration, where services like caution charge, lease restriction, search, stamp duty, and transfer are obtained. We also have land administration, where users of the system can seek approval for subdivision, extension of lease, change of user, extension of user, renewal of lease, and seek preparation of leases. We also have the Department of Physical Planning, where we have plan requisition and certificate of compliance, and also approval of part development plans prepared by the counties, strictly by the counties. We have the Department of Survey and Mapping, where we have subdivision amalgamation, new grant, resurvey. On to the Department of Land Valuation, we have asset valuation, government leasing, government purchase, and estate administration and arbitration. We also have services under the National Land Commission, like the land allocation, which has been re-engineered and it's in the system. So once you have understood what the services are on Artisasa, you can go through the FAQs, which are the frequently asked questions, to understand more on the services that we have mentioned, and also to understand how to register and how to log in and navigate through Artisasa after registration. Down here, we have our contacts. We have our customer care information right here. We also have our terms and conditions, which will help manage your conduct in the system and also govern your information in the system. Besides that, we have this button right here, which is written, "We are here." It is a customer care interface where you can talk to a customer care real time by asking questions pertaining the system. If you're stuck anywhere, this is where you can always come and communicate to a customer care 24/7. We have these enlarged buttons. We expect you to register and log into the system for you to be able to transact or seek services in the ministry. So if we click on registration, we have catered for two types of registration: registration by individuals, registration by a company. So if you click on individual registration, you will be sought to input your identification type. Currently, the system only caters for ID number. We do not cater for foreign identification and passports. So it is only ID number. Click on ID number. You will be asked to key in your ID number. This is the first step. The first step is ID verification. Once you key in your ID number, the system verifies with the relevant registration body, which is IPRS, to ascertain that this ID number is a valid ID number in their registration. So the next thing is input the serial number for your ID, which I will show you how to do so. And key in your first name, last name, and any other names as is on your ID. That information will be cross-checked before you, when you click on verify, the system automatically cross-checks and takes you to phone number. I will not proceed with the registration because I've already registered in the system. This is someone else's ID. The next thing is phone number verification. When you prompt the system to go to the phone number verification by verifying your ID details, you will be required to input your ID, your phone number. Once you do that, the system will send a one-time password to your phone number where you will then input it on the system and verify. That is how you verify your phone number. The process is still the same for email, that you input your email, get an OTP from the system and verify that that email is what is attached to this particular phone number or this particular person. The last step is setting your password. To set your password, you'll need to have a password that is 8 characters long. One, it needs to have a special character that is say @ $, hashtag, or percentage, or even the asterisk sign. The next thing is you need to have a number, a small letter, and a capital letter, just to build on a strong password. So once you have done that, you will be redirected to this page where you will log in. So just before we get there, we'll go back to home. After registration, you can always access the login bit here by clicking on login. I am already registered in the system, so allow me to log in. If you've forgotten your password, you can always take the steps to reset your password by clicking on the forgot your password bit. So we are going to log in. The system at every point of login will verify that this person who is logging in is the actual person that registered in the system by sending you a one-time password. So I have received a one-time password both on my phone and my email, and I will input it. It has an expiry time of almost 3 minutes. You can resend it if the one-time password has expired. But if you are okay, click on login. Once you log in, you will be first prompted to upload a passport photo that you will need, that will be embedded on any applications or any transactions that need your passport photo. And this is also an identifier that this is the person who is registered on Artisasa. So from the dashboard, you can see we have the various services. If you don't know which service falls where, you can always search it by its name. Say you are seeking a subdivision. If you just type it, you can see we have subdivision applications listed by the system, then you can click on it. So having, just to give you an overview of the system, we have the passport photo. This is where your account is. This is where you can always log out. We also have the notifications point. This is where you will have a list of notifications that have been sent to you, either through a process that has been initiated by you or through an appointment or something that has been raised for you that is with reference to your account by the ministry or the National Land Commission. So on this left-hand panel, you can see we have my properties. This is where your properties will be listed. And a person creating an account in the system who is an owner of land will need to add their property just for us to enumerate it and really attach it to their details, because what we have sometimes is we have information that is missing on ownership, say like their phone number, their up-to-date phone number, and so on. So they click on add their property, they add their property, whether it is owned solely, jointly, or in common, and whether it is owned by an individual or a company. This is where you add your property. You'll then be prompted to add any other property details. You can accompany them with rents that you have paid recently, and also upload a copy of your title deed or lease document. When that is done, you will confirm the details and you will send the information to the Department of Land Registration by submitting that particular addition of my property in the system. Once that is done, I will demonstrate using another demonstration environment because this is the live system. But just to have an overview, we have the My Appointments tab, where appointments are booked by the ministry for you are listed here as invitations. If you've been invited to the ministry, they will be listed here. Then you can schedule a date and time when it's most convenient for you. We also have upcoming appointments. This is a list of appointments that you have scheduled with the ministry or the National Land Commission, and they're listed here. We have past appointments or missed appointments. If you've missed an appointment, it will be listed here. And if there are any past appointments that you have adhered to, they'll be listed here. We have my tickets. My tickets is information raised for you by the customer care agents, so that a ministry or a technical staff from the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning or the National Land Commission can contact you, and you can talk about what the ticket was raised about. So we have open tickets. This is something that is ongoing communication. It's an issue that is being addressed by the ministry and you. We also have ongoing ones, which are still ongoing on your dashboard, and we also have the closed ones. This is where the issue has been resolved either by appointment or just by communication or by giving information from the ministry, and that ticket has been closed. The next thing is we have notifications. It is the same as what I had illustrated using the notification bell on the far right-hand corner. And we have the account bit where we have the account details. We have somewhere a point where you can update your settings. You can update your password. Occasionally, it is advisable that you change your password. So we have created an interface for you to always change your password with a verification from through your phone number and email. So what you notice is the system has a lapse time where if you have been logged in for a while and you're not active, it logs you out. So back to the account settings, we have a point where you can update settings. And something that is of importance to this body is the upgrade of account. We seek to know professionals that are interacting in the system or requesting services on behalf of Kenyans out there. So for us to recognize you, we need you to upgrade your account to that of a professional by giving us your details. Which profession do you want to upgrade to? You switch to a licensed surveyor. You'll be needed to give your license number just for demonstration, and then you will need to upload your current certificate. You click right there and it directs you to your local storage so that you can select it. We also need supporting documents to accompany this particular application. So you will upload any supporting documents that you find relevant to this account upgrade procedure. You can upgrade your ID, you can upgrade even your degree certificate or any other information that you find relevant. It could be even the DOS authorization letter for you to practice as a licensed surveyor and so on. This information will be cross-checked by personnel in the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning, and they will ascertain that actually you are a professional and you're authorized to act on behalf of the body, and then your account will be upgraded. At this point, allow me to switch to the demonstration environment. This is the live system, but for facilitation on demonstration, we are going to log in on another environment so that we can maybe create an application in the system. So the procedure for logging in is just as I had said. You key in your identification number, your password, and a one-time password that is sent to your phone. So we are going to the Department of Survey and Mapping and shift our focus right there, because that is where licensed surveyors are mostly engaged in, and that is where the system authorizes initiation of requests by professionals, that is licensed surveyors. And at the Department of Survey and Mapping, we have a new grant application, a request that can be made by a licensed surveyor. As you can see, when we click on it, we don't have a point where we can initiate a request. So we also have subdivision, we have amalgamation and resurvey. It is also key to note that this resurvey request is only for development control request, that is extension of lease, change of user, extension of user, and so on. So how can we, as licensed surveyors, initiate or make a new request in the system? So once you upgrade your account will be multi-functions. So you can see we have Stella here as my private account, but I also have a professional account, which is a licensed surveyor and so on. The rest are for demonstration. So if you switch your account to that of a licensed surveyor, go back to the say subdivision process, you can see we have a new application button that has been provided for a licensed surveyor. The next thing that you will note is we have list of applications or requests that you have previously made. There are some that are pending your action, listed under pending. We also have ongoing that are that means they are ongoing processing in the department. And further, to view an ongoing request, you can see we have this progress bar that informs you at what point that particular transaction is in the ministry. So you can always note. You'll also note the information that you submitted in the system. You can note this person sought a subdivision for this parcel number. The projection type was UTM. The approval letter reference number was not available, but the date that that approval letter was issued was February, and so on. So the information is listed right there. We have documents or files that you submitted in the system when you're making that particular request listed right there. We also have invoices that were generated for payment for this particular transaction. We have any feedback that is communicated from the department that will be listed here. Back to the ongoing transactions, you can see we have approved, and rejected. So this means that your transaction has been authenticated. This one means it has been completely dismissed. So just to take you through the form for subdivision requests, we have for each transaction in the system, we have this first step, which is the FAQs. It seeks to inform you about that particular request, what it is about, what are the requirements that are needed, who are the actors involved, and what payments are required. Something else that is additional to this particular department is we have template documents. So the director of survey will occasionally send to you templates of documents, say like the computation file, what format they seek to get from you as a licensed surveyor. So the template documents will always be listed here. You can come and download and edit it to suit the standards that will be set by the Department of Survey. When you're okay with the FAQs, you don't have any more information or any more questions, you can click on next. If you have any more queries that have not been covered right here, you will then be, you can then use this particular widget right here that connects you to a customer care. So when we click on next, we have the application form or the requisition form that now you'll be needed to fill and submit in the system so that your transaction can be initiated in the Department of Survey. So in this case, we are going to initiate a subdivision transaction. The projection type is strictly in UTM. This is the standard form that we, through RTSASA, are seeking that every surveyor submits their work in, should be in UTM. So we are going to mock Nairobi. So it is UTM zone 37S. The parcel number, and this is only for demonstration. It will not go into changing anything in the cadastre or ownership of this parcel. It is just for demonstration. Is Nairobi block 153, parcel number 334. The approval letter reference number is either one that was generated in the system. So if it was generated in the system, you'll need to key in the reference number. Something else that I forgot to mention as I was initiating this transaction is all these transactions that are being initiated in the Department of Survey have sought an approval from the county, gotten a PPA2, sought another approval from the Land Administration Department that will now go into changing the lease as a development control application, and they have the reference number of that approval letter that was given from the Department of Land Administration. So that is what you key in here. So before you initiate a transaction for a client, you will need to seek the approvals or require the client seeks the approval from the county and also from the Department of Land Administration in the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning on this platform, RTSASA platform. So what you'll be required is not re-upload the document again, but just key in the reference number. That aside, we also cater for search. So before you initiate a transaction, you can do due diligence and conduct a search for either that parcel number by initiating a search on the platform, or if it is the case of a new grant, you can just cross-check in the system that whether that part development plan is existent in the system. So that is the bit for due diligence on the license surveyor's side. Once they have done that and they have done the survey work, that is when they initiate this subdivision transaction on the system. So we will assume that the approval letter was given way before the system was probably active. So we are going to just say it is not available, but we are going to upload it in the documents tab. So the date the approval letter was issued, we can mark a date in February, say. It was in 9th of this year, February. The location details of this particular parcel, Nairobi Block 153, 334, it's in Nairobi, and we can say it is in Embakasi East. Then the locality, as is recognized in the Department of Survey, we are going to say City of Nairobi. Any other additional information will be given right here. When you click on next, you will be prompted to give the date of completion of field survey. You can say that you completed the survey, say in, we can mark a date in March. You're also going to be needed to submit the FR number for this particular parcel. So we are going to use FR number 153/157. If you have multiple FRs, you can key them in. And if you notice that you have input an FR that is not what you wanted to input, you're going to say remove it. So that is it. If your instrument, the instrument that you used in this survey is one that is calibrated, you're going to also tell us the date that that instrument was calibrated. This is optional. It is not a mandatory field because not all instruments are calibrated. Once you've keyed in that information, you click on next. We have the mandatory files that are needed. We need that land administration approval letter that was issued. So you're going to select it from your local storage. So before you initiate a transaction on the system, you need to have all the files in electronic format because that is what is acceptable right now on ArthiSasa. So if you're, since I mocked calibration right here, I will be needed to upload a calibration certificate. If your instrument is not one that is calibrated, you will not be needed to upload the calibration certificate. The next file is the raw data document, which you have extracted from your machine and input in Excel format. It is not the extraction that you upload in the raw machine format, but in Excel format. The next thing is the computation sheet that you will then be needed to upload following the guidelines or the template that is communicated by the Director of Survey. The next thing is the scheme plan that went into this subdivision. We also need the beacon certificate. We also need a drawing of this survey plan, so you will need to upload that. Once you have done that, you will need to upload the survey plan polygons and the survey plan beacons. Both should be in shapefile format with its proper components there, that is .shp. The 5 main components of the shapefile, and the attributes of each of them will be communicated also. Say for the beacons, we need you to tell us the X coordinates, the Y coordinates. We also need the beacon class. We need the beacon description. So that is part of the information that we will require in the shapefile. It needs to be in the attributes. So we are going to mock an upload. For this particular file. If you find any other relevant files that are relevant to this particular transaction, you can add them in the additional documents, state the name or inform us what the name of that document is and upload. Say you'd want to upload the raw data document as extracted from the machine, you can upload it here, or any letter that you find relevant, you upload them right there. Once you've done that, you click on next. If you're not certain of the information that you've keyed in, you can always use the back button to navigate back to the form and ascertain the information that you've keyed in. So if you're certain that everything is okay, click on next. And the form, in summary, will be displayed right here. The survey details that you gave, the location details, the field notes details, and the FR number and the application details for this particular transaction. You can always cross-check and ascertain that what you're giving into the system is accurate. Once you've done that, you'll click on submit. At this point, the system will cross-check multiple things, a lot of things. One, it will check the documents that you have uploaded are accurate. It will dissect into the shape files that you have given into the system and ascertain that the key attributes that are needed are available in that shapefile. Beyond that, it will check the parcel, whether this parcel is allowed for subdivision. Say it is a parcel that has a charge ongoing, or it has been charged by a bank. It will dissect into that parcel, check that information, and ascertain that this parcel is actually authorized for subdivision. Once that is done, you can submit. What you see is, you can notice that the information that I have keyed in is not accurate. The beacon shapefile lacks this particular fields. So that was intentionally done just to show you that you need this particular information just before you upload any shapefile in the system. So once you have made a successful submission for this particular subdivision process, that particular transaction will be listed under the pending one. It will be pending, one, authorization from the owner of that land. Two, it will be pending payment. Payment currently on ArctiSasa is done upfront, so it is automatically calculated what fees you need to pay upfront. So you'll make the payment. If we can view one, you can notice that you can pay through M-Pesa. You can also pay through M-Pesa Express, which is different from M-Pesa. One automatically prompts you to pay. The other one, you need to key in the pay bill and so on. You can also pay through Cooperative Bank and so on. Once you make payment, an invoice will be generated and it will tell you that it is payment for, say, a subdivision, and an invoice reference number will be attached to that particular invoice. So once you've made payment, the owner of that particular parcel of land, just to open one that is ongoing in the system, you can notice that I, who is the owner of that land, authorized this transaction. How do you then authorize? You will need to input a one-time password that you request from the system and say, yes, I actually approve that this transaction should continue on my parcel of land. I approve a subdivision, a resurvey, or an amalgamation of my plots of land as initiated by a licensed surveyor, say Jack Ochieng. So that is how you verify. Once you have done that, the transaction will go, once you've made payment and the proprietor of that land has verified, that transaction will go into the Department of Survey and Mapping. It will be cross-checked by the various officers. An overlay analysis will be done. They will check if the computed area is actually as stated by the licensed surveyor. They will check various things. This checking will be done with an accommodation, with a facilitation by a plugin that has been created for ArctiSasa. So what the plugin will do is it will pick all the information or all the files that were submitted by this licensed surveyor and overlay it against the cadastre. Check how these new files relate with the cadastre that is in the hands of the Department of Survey and Mapping. Once every officer has checked, they will fill the cadastral checking form, which is the SQL 38 as you know it right now, and it will go on to the checker who will check, and the authenticator will either approve or reject. At the point where this transaction warrants an RTS or a return to surveyor, the specific officers in the department will return it to the surveyor. The surveyor will be notified on their phone, on their email, and also on the system. This is where he he or she will view the notification. Once it has been returned to you, it will be listed under pending. So you can come and view it, view the reasons that it was returned to you, and make any changes that need to be made on this particular transaction. Once that is done and it warrants an approval, the Department of Survey will prepare a new survey plan that conforms to their standards by a cartographer in the department. They will prepare a new survey plan, which will then be sent back to you. It will be prepared using the files that you submitted with no editing, the files that you submitted and the beacons and the polygons that you submitted. It will be then returned to you for you to ascertain or disapprove. This is one that is pending approval. As you can see, it is listed as pending, under pending, and it is also listed under as pending approval. So once you click on view for a pending approval transaction, you'll be able to see these two buttons. You can either ascertain or disapprove. So what are you checking at this point as the license surveyor? You will view the plan that was prepared by the department. So it is more or less the same thing as what you had prepared in the survey plan. So you will check, click on view, open it, and ascertain that it actually conforms to what you submitted in the department. And once you have done that, you can either click on ascertain or disapprove. If you click on disapprove, you can say why you are not, you find this survey plan not sufficient or not okay with you. Then you can add your comment and it goes back to the director of survey, who cross-checks and can either warrant it to be redone in the department or send it back to you with minimal chances of seeking a redoing of the same. If you're okay and you're certain that it actually conforms to what you had intended, you click on ascertain. The system will ask you to kindly confirm that the plan uploaded on the documents tab is a true representation of your work. Once you're certain, you click on confirm. If you click on confirm, sorry, that one is has an error. So if you click on confirm, the final survey plan is generated. What we had here is a survey plan that did not have any execution. So once you click on ascertain, you will get a new copy of the approved survey plan. It will have your signature as the license surveyor, the person who is logged in, and the person who submitted this particular work. Then it will have the signatures of all other officers that were involved in this transaction in the Department of Survey. The next thing is it will be listed under approved transactions. If you click on an approved transaction, you will notice under the documents tab, we have two documents. We have the plan that was first issued to you to ascertain that it resembles your work, and we have the approved survey plan. If you click on view, the approved one, you can notice that we have all the other information field. We have the authentication details, the date, the records, and every other bit of information that needs to be in the approved survey plan. So at this point, this is the authenticated plan. It is a copy that has been sent to you from the department, and that is it on the subdivision process. It takes the same course for amalgamation and resurvey and new grant. So what happens after this is done? In the case of subdivision, if we go back into viewing, an approved survey plan, you will notice that we have new parcel numbers. They will be displayed for you on the survey plan. If this is not clear, I am sorry. This was just for demonstration. But if there are any new survey plans, they will be displayed right here. So we have a new survey plan, which has come from, this one was a transaction involving say Nairobi block 153, parcel number 344. We have new parcels that come from the subdivision, which is Nairobi block 153, 696 and 153, 695. So this is what goes into lease processing. You will use these new parcel numbers to initiate a lease process in the Department of Land Administration. So that is it on subdivision. It takes the same course, as I said, for amalgamation and resurvey for development control applications. So I end my presentation at that point. I hand over to the coordinator to continue.
Thank you very much for Sarah for wonderful presentation, and also to Dr. Ouno, who had spoken earlier on. We want to thank you very much indeed. Adisasa Shambalako Heti Safi. I think I feel schooled, and I believe all of us we feel learned, and I think we have quite a number of information that was lacking, which was an information gap. Now I think Sarah, you'll be on standby because we are going to engage with quite a number of questions which members have posted on the chat. I'll read through them, but before I start reading through them, allow me with permission granted by our members, now being a valuer or an estate agent by association, allow me to ask you a good question that I'm sure is going through the minds of many. So as a valuer, as an estate agent, as a property manager, how do I interact with the system? Before you respond to that, we'll be going through the questions, and you'll allow us to continue asking questions, even on behalf of our parents back at home and the rest of that. So if Sarah, if you're here with us and the rest of the technical team, would you maybe respond to that as we go through other questions? As Sarah prepares to respond to that, I want to encourage all of us to rename your gadget and put your two names and your chapter so that it's easy for you to be allocated your CPD points. Kindly note, this session earns you 5 CPD points. So Sarah, as a valuer, as an estate agent, as a property manager, how do I interact with the system before we can start reading the rest of the questions? Over to you, Sarah. Kindly unmute Sarah if she's still muted, my team. Thank you. Sarah, if you could hear us. Sarah, are you with us? Sarah, if you're here with us or the technical team from the ministry, please be alert so that we can respond to members' questions. Dr. Ouno, if you could hear us kindly.
Yes. I think Sarah is shying away from responding to the question for the obvious reasons. They're supposed to be dealing with technical issues, but those are policy issues. So I think she wants me to respond.
All right,
So,
thank you.
Yes. So we had an engagement with Abraham, the president. I think he indicated, sorry, that this was a miss, and he said that could not have been an oversight. Our technical team, our teams are working on the provision for values in the system. We also engaged the chair, Estate Agents Registration Board, Ms. Eunice Masharia. And I think we will have those up and running. But of course, one I can sure about is the values provision should be up very, very soon because we're working on it. I think we had a technical challenge because of the introduction of private values on the platform. I think that delayed the process, but once we are able to iron those issues, we'll have the values platform on board. As far as state agents are concerned, we are discussing with the ERB chair.
Thank you very much for that clarity. I hope we have timelines in regard to that because we have quite a number of my members here, and I'm asking on behalf of them as an associate value or estate agent. But thank you for that clarity. I hope there's some timelines.
There is. Of course, we'll communicate formally. Yes.
Thank you. So, Sarah, are you back? There are some technical questions, and I'll start with, of course, we've seen a lot of compliments from members, and we want to thank you very much for your compliments. Sitasha asked, I did not understand what the speaker meant about upload your documents. Are citizens required to upload their title documents? Maybe we take a few, Sarah. That's the first one. Then Matthew Obiero, some members of the public have issues and are apprehensive about uploading documents. This is more of the security of documents that Matthews is referring to, whether there's an assurance of security of documents. We take the third one, then you can respond from Samson. It's a question again, which I've been asked a number of times, and I think I've had the CS being asked about this one. What if a parcel is owned by multiple persons? How do I register it? Maybe the three as we move on. Sarah, over to you.
Yes, Stella will respond. Stella, please.
Stella, thank you very much. Kindly join us.
I actually suspect. Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay. So on the question of some members of the public have issues and are apprehensive about uploading documents, what I think is previously they have always brought the documents to the Department of Land Registration or any other department for either for their transactions. So on the system, what they are actually uploading is a copy of their lease. Say they are adding a property. It is a copy. It is not the original document that you own. So I am not sure how to really answer that. But you can give them the assurance that it doesn't go into changing the ownership of their property. It only goes into ascertaining that they are actual owners and what they have input into the system. It is linking them to their property so that they can now go ahead and initiate transactions on the system. The previous question was, I did not understand what the speaker meant about upload your documents. Are citizens required to upload? Yes, in the case of adding your property, you will be needed to upload a copy, a photocopy of your ownership documents. So yes, that is it. Over to you, Rose.
Sarah, sorry, about the security, I think we just want that confirmation that the system is secure and our documents are safe.
So just to also add on that is, as someone in the ministry is viewing the documents, they are actually even watermarked, not for use in another platform. So they are actually very, very safe.
Awesome. In case of multiple ownership of a parcel, how do I register it? Maybe a quick one just to emphasize. I'm sure that has been asked many times.
So multiple ownership, I want to assume it is joint ownership or proprietorship in common. So what you do is you go to the add property tab, add it as a joint owned parcel of land. Then once you do that, it will now be listed on both registered people on the system's accounts. So under my properties, you'll be able to see that you co-own this land with someone, either as proprietorship in common or jointly, and these are your shares and these are their shares. So just to maybe share my screen and show you how that is achieved. Under my properties tab, you can see there are a list of properties that are listed. So if you say click on view, let me show you how to view. This is something that I missed as I was demonstrating. You will always view the parcel information, your parcel information. This is parcel number this, and this is for demonstration. I am not the owner of this land. So you'll also view the parcel details as captured in the Department of Survey. This is a part of cadastre that you will have access to, which you have rights to. So this is my parcel. We have the registration details listed here. You can see it geographically against various base maps. That is OpenStreet, Nairobi map, and World Imagery. And a disclaimer right here will seek to inform you that there can be topographical misalignment, as the base maps used to depict this are not in the same coordinate system. So there is bound to have an error in depiction. So under proprietorship, if you own this parcel with someone, it will be listed here. In this case, this is sole ownership. But in the case where we co-own this parcel, you will be listed here as a co-owner of that parcel, and any other previous owners of that particular parcel are listed there. Encumbrances on the said parcel will be listed right here. Any power of attorney that you've granted someone, they'll be listed here. Documents that have been registered under this parcel or surrendered under this parcel are also listed here. Something else is ongoing applications that are ongoing on this parcel. They'll be listed here. Say we succeeded in initiating a transaction for that particular parcel, it will be listed right here. Then we have any pending land rents and invoices, they'll be listed here. So someone can just come and click on pay and pay their land rents right there. So this information that I've explained to you is available to the proprietor or the owner of that land. In the case where it is now the license surveyor, they'll need to seek a search, and in the content of the search, you will be shown the registration details, you'll be shown the proprietorship details. If they own that particular parcel of land with someone, any encumbrances on that parcel, they'll be listed, attorneys on that parcel, and any ongoing transactions. Say that person has already initiated a subdivision with another license surveyor, and they are not in good terms, and they have sought your services. You'll be able, through the search, to see if there are any other ongoing transactions, or if there's a charge that has been placed on that particular parcel of land, it is ongoing, it has not been approved. So you'll be quite informed just before you go to the field and conduct a survey on that particular parcel. Execute a subdivision, you'll be quite informed on the ongoing transactions on that land. And something else, just before you initiate a transaction for a client, if they have any pending land rents, they will be required to pay the land rents first, just before they proceed. So that is it. I think I have gone above and beyond and answered the question.
Thank you, Stella, for that clarity. I'll read a few more, then we'll allow a few more members also to ask questions on audio directed to you from Bethwell Oyo. Does the online cadastre cover the plots in Nairobi blocks which are to be issued new plots numbers? I think the other question we had asked about the various and agents, that has been responded to. I'll ask David to be unmuted and ask. There are quite a number of questions that he's asking so that we don't lose that. If you could unmute David to ask his question, he had quite a number. It's good for him to ask directly. David Muthami.
Hello.
Yes, David, kindly go ahead with your question. Make them short and brief so that Stella can respond to them.
Okay, I think one of them was a comment on the registration process. So I found out that it's that with someone's ID and the serial number you can register, because the system is not validating. It's not going to another step of validating even the phone number. So that's one of the concerns. The other one was whether the system is going to validate application reference numbers from the county, because we're just adding a number. So how will it validate that that number is real? Then the third one was on whether there are any API documentations available for people or for third-party agents that would want to integrate with the NLIMS system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. I hope, Stella, you've marked that. Job asked, are you uploading the old person number or converted ones? Probably the other question and a comment, I'll ask Wafula Namtola to be unmuted to ask a direct question. If you have a question. If not, just a comment from Philip Machari. I think that has been responded to, Philip. I hope you're okay with that. There's a question from Comestera. You can take note of this. Does the subdivision on Athi-Sasa cater for general boundaries? Then I'll let Evans Karanja to be unmuted and ask a few questions. If he is having a bit of difficulties, maybe he can clarify what validation he means. Evanson Karanja.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed, Evanson.
Yeah, I've been trying to register on several occasions, but the registration is not going past the validation of the ID. It says that functionality is not working for now. So maybe they can let us know whether there's a challenge on their end or it's only me who's having issues.
Thank you so much, Evanson. I'm sure Stella has taken note of your question. Philip, I think that your question and your concern has been responded to. Matthew, yes, there's a bit of delay, and I think Dr. Uno has alluded to the delay on the area of barriers, and thank you very much for that. I think there's a good question from also Edward Mutuma. Could you kindly, Edward, unmute and ask your direct question to the team, and then we move forward. Kindly, Edward Mutuma, unmute Edward Mutuma.
So, good afternoon once again.
Afternoon, Edward.
Yeah, so my question was basically revolving around the issue of security in terms of the people responsible for handling the data. For instance, we have the data that will be uploaded to the system, and much as it may not, it may have those watermark features, somebody may still want to take note of some issues. Somebody may have an interest that pass of blood. They are fellow human beings. How do we ascertain beyond any reasonable doubt that the handlers of our data that is being uploaded and processed is not delayed for some reasons, okay, is actually not shared to other third parties who might have interest on it? So basically, it goes beyond the security features of the system, because at the end of the day, it's human beings who are interacting with it, and they'll be noting information about it. Somebody can put it even down, and maybe use it for some other reason. So basically that was my comment on it. The other one was actually on a positive note. This system is going to a large extent weed out the quirks that have really invented our profession and as well foster professionalism in the land sector. So thanks, Rose.
Thank you, Edward, for
And
the
to Paul
comments and
Dige,
questions. Yes.
and Paul Dige, I can confirm to him that I'm his classmate, so he can reach me for 2012. He asked that question private.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Edward. I think, Stella, you've taken note of that, more of security features and the confidentiality and enhancement of security. As you respond to that, also confirm to Matthew Sobiro that must the submission done to DOS be in Director of Survey be in shape files. Maybe, Stella, you can take that as we move on to the next batch.
Okay. So I'll start off with the first question that was about validation or cross-checking of the ID serial number. Currently, we are trying the much that we can do to validate and cross-check the phone number is actually registered with the same ID. That is, we are doing something. Then on the application reference number, I probably missed the context of the question. I'll beg a repeat. The system currently is only dealing with fixed boundaries. In the next version, we will look into general boundaries. The handling of data that you submit is just as easy in the manual system. It is handled by the various officers in the Department of Survey and Mapping. It does not go into the hands of any other person who does not have rights of access. The system has incorporated access level restrictions for various people. If you need to access something in the system, you will need to have a right to it. And that has been done right from the core of the system. So the next thing is the parcel numbers that the system accepts right now are, the system has been anchored on law. So we only seek parcel numbers that have gone through the conversion process, and that is what can be ingested in the system for processing of, say, requests as subdivision, even as search. A simple thing as a search needs to conform with the law. We will give information on parcels that have been converted. So thank you. If there's any question that I've left out, kindly guide me, Rose.
Okay. Thank you, Stella, for that. As we unmute Felix Kiptum to ask a question, I'd like us also to confirm to Chege Nyaga. We had just said, kindly take us through the process of such application being a general function of all use. I think that has been done. Chege, you can maybe ask a question. Kindly unmute Felix Kiptum to ask a question before we go to Julius.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, kindly proceed.
Yes, we can.
Okay, I think first of all, I want to thank the team for doing a great job. I'm just curious, where can we get the technical details of the shape files and the XLS so that we can prepare now our documents in conformity with the formats that you want? Thank you.
Thank you for that. Then unmute Julius Kobando to ask the next question.
Thank you, Chair. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, kindly proceed, Julius.
Yes, first of all, I wanted to know the system only accepts UTM coordinates. Now, I wanted to know whether the whole of Nairobi has been converted from Kasini to UTM so that we don't have a problem. I've also not heard about the amendment of the register map procedure. Then the other issue I have here has something to do with the several property titles. According to Dr. Udo, the several properties that had been issued with the titles earlier were issued on a wrong law. I tend to disagree with that. I've done so many several properties under the Personal Property Act 1987. And they were all referenced and titles have been issued. So those ones which have their surveys have been your reference should be actually be uploaded. Only those ones that were done under RDA were registered using wrong law. Otherwise, the rest are correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Surveyor Julius, for those questions. Stella, maybe you can take the two.
Thank you, Rose. The first question was about the templates for the shapefile and for the computation sheets.
Yes.
The director of survey will guide you on that. They only need to upload the acceptable template, and it will reflect on the FAQs of each and every transaction. Say it is a subdivision, it will be under the templates. That is where you can be able to download it. So once it's done, we will communicate through your body, or we will seek communication through the director of survey. So on the conversion of Nairobi, I believe that it has been fully done, because right now we have the cadastre of Nairobi in UTM. Then the amendment of the RIM. So something that I forgot to mention, after the licensed surveyor has ascertained that what has been done by the department is a true representation of their work, and they click on ascertain, as the system generates the approved survey plan that has appended all signatures, the system also amends the cadastre, which is the base for any other map that might need parcel information, like the registry index map. And the amendment is done. It reflects the new parcel numbers that have been done, and it replaces the mother title with the new parcel information that has been approved through the process of subdivision. Further into that, in list processing, you will not be required to go with the RIM. This information is in the possession of the government. It is with it is in the Department of Survey and Mapping. So if the Department of Land Administration needs access to the registry index map, all officers in that department will have access to that. So right now, the system, due to the integrations that we have done with the various departments, we will not be seeking information from the clients that is already available and can be shared with other departments. So in the case of list processing, if you go into processing a list, you'll be required to give any other information and not this map. The map will be provided for the new parcels and for the abattoirs to the Department of Land Administration, and they can now sufficiently go into approving your lease request. So that is it. Back to you, Rose.
Thank you. I think I take note of what Senior Julius was asking. Maybe later on, Dr. Uno, you can clarify that on the area section of properties titles that were issued. We take note of your comment, Frida. Thank you very much. Matthew, maybe you unmute and ask your question. I can see you put quite a number of questions you need to ask, and make them very short. I'm looking for a lady. Please, ladies, ask questions. Also, we need clarity. Matthew, kindly unmute and ask your question and make it short and sweet. Matthews, offer to you, Obiero.
Yes, good morning. I think it is still morning.
Good morning. Please proceed.
My questions are, I think the senior Julius has also asked the same.
Yeah.
My concern was, we normally present our file a senior way, and now it's like the system will only accept the shape files.
Yes.
I'd asked if any other acceptable form of CAD programs can or CAD drawings can be accepted in the system. I don't know. I think I can still be guided.
Thank you very much. I'm sure Stella has taken note of that.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Karoi, we take note of your comment. Mary Njuguna. Awesome, thank you for that comment, Mary. We go to my senior member here, Joel. Joel, would you like to ask a question? Kindly unmute yourself and ask the question.
Thank you, Rose. One, as you're taking us through the issue of searches, I think you mentioned that the search can only be done once you have initiated the subdivision, in which case, as a surveyor, you will have already done this, the field work and all the other things. Is there a provision for a licensed surveyor to do a search of an independent plot even before they start any transaction on that plot, any work, any professional involvement in that land? That's one. Number two, we submit, licensed surveyors submit their jobs to the Director of Surveys, and this system accepts jobs that are submitted. But as they submit jobs, they also get data from the director. Can this system also give out the data? Like if you have a plot number, how to get the relevant survey data that you require for that work? I think we can handle those two.
Joel, there's something you and also asked on how someone can check whether the system has an embodiment of checking with LSB. Do you like also that to be taken? Sarah, probably you can proceed with that from Matthews and Joy. Yeah, kindly.
Okay, just been made to note that there was an earlier question about document verification. If the system can automatically verify the genuineness of documents that have been uploaded in the system. So currently, since we have not integrated with the county governments and also other bodies, say like NEMA, or bodies that really produce information that needs to be digested by the system, since there is not that integration, we leave it at the disposal of the officers in the system, or in the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning, and also the National Land Commission to verify the validity of these documents. But in future, when we integrate with the counties, you will not even be needed to upload the document. You'll only give us the document reference number. We will check in their database and ascertain that that particular reference number is valid and it is for that particular transaction. The same happens with documents that are generated on ArthDisasa and need to be used on ArthDisasa. We will always seek a verification, just the reference number of that particular document. Back to this here, you can see every transaction that is initiated in the system is given a unique reference number, and any document that is generated in the system, it is also assigned a unique reference number that now you can come back in the system. We will make an availability for document verification where you can just key in the reference number and you can view that particular document. So the next question was if we accept any other geometry, say from the shapefile. Currently, the system has been built to only accept shapefile formats. So what we can advise the officers to do is to prepare their work and convert to shapefile, then submit it into the system. That is the only acceptable one. And it also needs to be in UTM. Then what you also need to understand is this information goes into automating certain processes in the system. If you submit in a shapefile format, we will automatically pick that particular shapefile, as that is how the system has been built to overlay it on, say, the cadastre, say, satellite imagery that is in the system. So that is the only acceptable format currently. On the question of searches by licensed surveyors, what I can tell you is you can make a search anytime, 24/7, any day, 24/7. So you can always, just before you even initiate or go to the field or make any move on that particular job, come to search, make a new request. And if you're seeking a subdivision, you will come here. This is parcel search. Say just like the parcel that we were subdividing, it's Nairobi block 153, parcel number 300, and suspect it was 34.
34, yes.
Yes, 34. You add that parcel. You can say your purpose of search is to survey the land or any other information that, any other reason that you have. Enter the purpose of search. So this one is, it is at the liberty of any applicant. The scope of search, we are going to select this one that is more detailed. If you click on next, you can see you only need to verify and click on submit. The next thing is ask the owner of that land to accept the search. Right now, I am searching my parcel of land. So for me to, this is the view that will go to the proprietor's side. So what you need to do as part of your due diligence is ask them to authorize the system to release search results for you. This is the case for just any person searching a parcel of land, but it is not the same case for, say, an investigative body or someone who has adverse authorization to search your parcel of land. So in this case, it is just the license surveyor seeking to search that particular parcel of land. The person who is the owner of this land will authorize that particular search by requesting an OTP from the system at that particular instance and verifying. Once that is done, you can be able to view and download the search results. So this is the license surveyor. Just before they go to the field, they'll be able to view the search results. Because we have sought a scope of search that is more detailed, you will even see, the title, which is what you have searched. You'll see the search reference number. You will see the property section, whether it is leasehold or freehold. You will also see the approximate area of that particular parcel of land as is in the title deed. It is 0.0170. You can see the proprietorship section. It was previously owned by this person. You can see how it has changed hands over the years, and if there are any more proprietors, you'll be able to view. So at this point, it can raise an alarm that I, Stella, who has sought your services, am not the owner of this land. I am not even anywhere in the register. So in that case, you can see that the person who has come to seek your services is not the owner of that land, and that can raise an alarm. The next thing is you can see the encumbrance section of that particular parcel. You can see if there are any pending information. Say there's a charge. You'll then be required to tell this person to go and seek an authorization from the bank or do what is necessary for you to proceed. Any pending applications, they'll be listed right here. You can see there's a stamp duty. You will need to seek. If there's a transfer that is ongoing, you'll also need to understand what other pending application is on that parcel just before you do your work. If there's a power of attorney that has been given for this parcel, you'll see that information right here. Registered documents, if there are any that you will be needed to have access to, you can view them right there. So just before the license surveyor goes to the field, this is where they need to come and start their due diligence, conduct a search in the system, and the system will automatically generate results if the owner of that land authorizes that. So the other question was about requisition of data from the director of survey. That is a transaction or a request, or rather a process that will be provided in the end system where you can make a requisition for data. So I think I have exhausted all the questions. Back to you, Rose.
Ella, thank you very much. And thank you, members, once more again for your questions. We have taken note of your questions, and I am seeing there's an engagement from the ministry who are responding to your question. We want to thank the ministry, the technical team for doing that. Allow me just to call upon Nalipan to combine your questions and make them short and brief for Stella. The rest of the questions, I think I've seen the ministry have been able to respond to, and we'll be able to unmute any other person who has a burning question. For now, Nalipan. Nalipan, if you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Kindly give me some 5 minutes, please.
Make it short because we are almost closing. Kindly.
I'm still checking on something. Kindly 5 minutes.
All right,
You can
we
continue.
get. Oh, thank you. I note that. Thank you very much. I think, Stella, we want to thank you very much and the team, and also to you, Dr. Ouno, for wonderfully responding to the question. And I've seen quite a number of questions that have been responded to by your technical team there. So we want really to thank you so much. I don't know whether we have another person who has a burning question that has not been responded to.
Yes.
Yes, allow us just to, Matthew, I think we've handled that. Let's see who else has a question. You can raise your hand icon and we'll be able to see you. Yes, Matthew, you can proceed before the next person does, as we wait for the hands up.
Yes, my question was just as pertains to fraud. Does RDSASA now solve land fraud? Like any online transactions, even in cryptocurrency world, you still experience fraud. How does the RDSASA solve this problem?
Matthew, could you take that again, kindly?
Okay, I was asking about how RDSASA solves our land fraud problem. Like any online transactions, I do know that they are bound to fraud. So I wanted to know how RDSASA solves our land fraud.
Okay, we take note of that. Thank you very much. And thank you, Karoy, for your continued response to the question on chat. If you have a question, kindly raise your hand from the icon. We'll be able to call upon you before we end. We are about to end now. We want to ensure everyone's question is responded to. Allow me also to call upon Dr. Mwange to raise a question. Kindly, Daktari, if you have a question, proceed.
Thank you, Ross. I think it's a good system. It's good progress. And I think it will be improved with time. My only question is, suppose a surveyor's account is hacked into, maybe by somebody else, how do you prove that it was actually hacked into? I think that is something that is normally called non-repudiation. So perhaps they can explain to us, if such an instance happens, how does the system handle it? So thank you, Ross.
Thank you very much, Daktari. Stella, I hope you've taken note of that. I also wish to call upon Madame Emiri and Jeru to make a comment and ask a question.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, presenters. As we listened, I think I heard one of the presenters said that all public assets, landed assets, are mapped. I just wanted to know which ones this include. Does it include open spaces, riparian reserve, any riparian reserve that public in nature? Because not all of them are public in nature, and so that we can be able to know that now this information is available in the system. It's an area that surveyors usually need to tread carefully when they are being commissioned to do any kind of work.
Thank you so much, Madame Emily, for that question. Stella, please take note. I wish to call upon David Muthami to ask a short question kindly before we end with the next two.
Yes, okay, thank you, Madam, and thank you for the good system. Mine is a question on how will the platform address the issue of impersonation during registration process?
Thank you so much, David, for that concern. Then over to you, Beatrice Kirate. Well done, Madam. Thank you for asking the question. Kindly proceed.
Morning. Beatrice. Thank you for the presentation.
Yes.
Maybe you could inform us whether it would be possible to get soft copies of the registry index map in the system.
Okay. Stella, you can hear the concerns from members, and last and not the least, raising their hands is Patrick. You may make it very short, kindly.
Okay, hello.
Yes.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes.
My questions are two. Number one, the search that a licensed surveyor makes on the system, it seems it's just a search to verify that the person giving him the work is the owner of the property. It doesn't seem to be like the standard search that you get from the ministry. So I need that clarification. And then number two, how has the system addressed GLA titles? People who have GLA, if today I had a GLA title and I subdivided my plot into two portions, A and B, and I sold parcel B, parcel B will get a title. But if I don't sell parcel B and I've subdivided, no new title comes out under GLA. They don't issue titles because they use this concept of the indenture. So how has the system addressed that? Have they converted all GLA titles also? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have taken quite a bunch. So Stella, if you could quickly, and thank you, Karoi, for your responses. Well appreciated for that question. We have just a few minutes to end now. Please, Stella, if you could quickly take up, and some of them is more of confirmation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rose, and thank you everyone for your questions. So the first question was about, does ArtiSasa solve land fraud? And it's also the same question as hacking of accounts for licensed surveyors and any other person on the system. So the first point of entry in the system is identity theft. So what we require from every Kenyan, as we do our bit, you also need to do your bit. Stay vigilant. That identity theft is possible on system and off system. You can be represented or misrepresented anywhere. So keep your password private to you. That is one, because nobody can access your account without your password. The second thing is they cannot access your account without your phone. So make sure you know that for someone to access your account, they need to have your access to your phone and or email. That is where the one-time password is sent. So the first thing that you need to do is protect your account with all that you can, because that is the first step that is off system. And it is the mandate of the user. If you go through the terms and conditions that have been listed on our platform, it tells you about basically how to make sure your account is safe, because we will not be liable that you gave someone your password and they can now access and act on your behalf. However, the system, in some cases like that of say land registration processes, there are certain times that you will be needed to avail yourself physically in the ministry, and these are processes that are going to change the ownership of land. So in that case, you're going to be required, say, to come to the ministry to surrender your documents or to execute and ascertain that you're actually the owner of that land. And by that, the system interjects and prompts the officer to raise a ticket, and a ticket means it's an issue that needs a physical presence or needs you to cross-verify. So that is it. The public mapping of spaces, the mapping of public spaces in the system has been done according to various classes. We have recreational facilities that are public land, all public land that falls under educational and research, green spaces, protected areas, say like the wildlife protected areas. We also have industrial spaces. We have public purpose. We have special purpose that falls under public land. We have government housing that falls under public land, public transportation areas, commercial areas, and so on. So public land, whether owned by an institution or whether occupied by an institution or just green spaces, they have all been mapped and locked in the system for transaction. You cannot transact on a public land. So that is it. Even the cadastre cannot amend public land. A process cannot amend public land. On the RIM, on whether the surveyors can get the RIM, the only output that comes from the system is the survey plan that has been signed, that comes from your process. That is the only information you're going to get. And as I said, the bit that goes into registering the new parcels or parcel of land will be availed, that bit of the cadastre, the subject parcels and the abattoirs will be availed to the officers in the land administration department. So you will not even need to go with that survey plan or show anything physically. You'll not only need to initiate that particular process on the system, and the system, picking the reference number that was assigned to this subdivision, will ascertain that it was actually authenticated and approved, and now we can go ahead and conduct list processing. So the search that is being provided, I probably don't see any difference from what was provided before in the ministry. This is the form that we were given by the ministry as the search, for the search. So the details, maybe the person who asked this question can expound more on what else they find not available in the search that we generated from the system. On the question of GLA, that one will be probably answered by the Director of Survey. So that is it, Rose.
Stella, thank you very much. I can see 3 burning ones. I hope you can take maybe the next 5 minutes to respond to Elvis, Felix, and Madam Emily again. So Elvis, over to you. We can see you. Please answer ask your question very fast.
Hi, you can hear me?
Yes, kindly proceed.
In the registration, we do understand that licensed surveyors also have the assistants. Are the assistants? Can the assistants also be able to log into the system? Because I've realized I happened to also attend one for the planners, and actually the licensed planners refused. And I'm also kind of seeing a scenario also in the licensed surveyors that the assistants are being left out.
Thank you, Elvis, for that concern. Felix, could you kindly unmute and ask very quick your question?
Thank you, Ross, and thank you for the presenters. This is indeed, in my view, a good progress, and we are headed there. But there's some bit of clarity that is needed on the search. For instance, I've tried to.
Dr. Ari seems to have lost you.
Hello?
Yes, please proceed. We can hear you now, Doctor.
Yes. Could the presenter clarify that for you to do a search, number one, the owner of that parcel must be on the system, and they must have added their parcel on their name, on their account. Can I do a search for a parcel that the owner is not registered on the system and they've not linked themselves to the property?
Yeah, Dr. Ari, thank you for that. Collins Otieno, please, very quickly, kindly unmute yourself and ask the question to the team.
Yeah.
Kindly proceed.
Yeah. My question is this: How will the system handle the properties mentioned in Dunguland report? We've seen banks asking for valuers to verify and confirm that these are in the Dunguland report. These names are being changed. The conversion to block numbers is being done. Some of these properties were formerly government lands, etc.
Yes.
Does it mean every property in the system is now good to go?
Thank you, Collins. We hear you. I think, Stella, you've taken note of that. I see Madam Emily again. Please, very quickly before we end with our president. Emily, please proceed.
Thank you, Rose. This goes to Stella. Sorry to take you back, Stella. When you are explaining about the RIMs and the process for submitting for surveyors, there's a technical bit of it. When a surveyor logs in and submits works and interacts with the director of survey, there's technical part of it. But currently, when a survey is authenticated by the director of survey, it's usually a milestone in the contract that the surveyor has with a client. So when you say that once the data is authenticated by the director of survey, they authenticate, they amend the cadastral map. which the administrator for leases, land administrators can access directly. I think the system needs to provide, or maybe my question is, as a system provided for authorization from the surveyor. Otherwise, surveyors can be getting work started, they do it, they submit the system, and then after that, between the director of survey and land administration and registry, they can complete the work, and the surveyor is left out in the cold, working together with the landowner. I would like to know whether there's a checkpoint in the process to make sure that the licensed surveyor authorizes the process to go through, so that they can also release the in terms of completion of their contract. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam. I now take this opportunity to request Senior Ibrahim Wadane to make a comment or a question before Stella responses, and then we go to the President. Over to you, Senior Wadane.
Thank you, Rose. My comment is that I think as a country, we are making very good progress. This system is new, but with time, I believe a lot of the issues that are coming up will be responded to incrementally. So I urge ourselves to support the system managers to improve it as we move along. I would also want to indicate that a lot of the technical issues that are here coming through here would actually be responded to through a comprehensive technical practice note to licensed surveyors, so that they can then be able to handle themselves at their respective levels accordingly. Thank you very much, and thank you, ISK, for organizing this. It is very helpful to us.
Asante sana, Senior. So over to you, Stella, before I call upon our President.
So thank you, Rose, and everyone that has asked questions. So I will start off with the question about assistance. So the system is, we are looking into providing a way for licensed surveyors to add their assistance from their account. And how we are doing that is they can be able to add people who are registered in the system as their assistants from their dashboard, and they can be able to submit work on behalf of the licensed surveyors. So that is being done. The next question was, for you to do a search, yes, the owner must be on the system. Two, the owner must have added that property in the system. It is a very important step that links owners of land with their parcels, because during the digitization, you could realize that some people have not transacted on their land since, say, 1999. They are comfortably residing in their parcels of land, but we need an up-to-date information about, say, their phone number, their KRA PIN, and so on and so forth. So yes, that step cannot be skipped. We need them to add that property, and so that we can facilitate searches. The other question was on Dungu land report, and I am sorry that I cannot comment on that. Maybe someone from maybe Victor, Dr. Victor, or someone else can take up that question.
Yeah, okay.
And at the point where you see that that property has been added to the My Properties tab of Appropriator, it is safe for a transaction. The process of also adding a property will cross-check that actually this parcel of land, yes, you own that particular parcel of land, but it doesn't fall on the public spaces. So properties, on the question of whether every property in the system is okay for transaction, it depends on what point you're viewing the properties from. If you're talking about all the digitized records, not all records are allowed for transactions, because clearly some fall under public land. But if the person has successfully added that property on their My Properties tab, then it is safe for transaction, and they can even be able to view it geographically on the Properties tab and see that yes, it doesn't fall on public land. And just to reckon CS's word, she said that some people will be needed to come to the ministry to ascertain that that property is theirs. So those are some of the discrepancies that come with the digitization process. Then the other one was about the contract between the licensed surveyor and the owner of land. I think Madam Emily missed a point where we were clicking on ascertain. The ascertain bit is also a way of delaying the transaction so that the owner of the land can make payments to the license surveyor before the license surveyor ascertains. Something else that you need to note is the owner of the land will view where that transaction is at. Though they will not have a hand in it, they can also be able to view that it is at this stage and they need to prepare their finances and finish up with the license surveyor. So that's the license surveyor now. The ascertain button carries a lot of weight. It is also the release letter for that license surveyor. That is what they can use to now authorize the process to be completed and registration to continue. So that is the fact that the system can help the license surveyor. Beyond that, it is a private matter between the license surveyor and the owner of the land to finish up their transactions off system. But what involves the system and the officers in the ministry has been well catered for. So thank you. That is it, Rose.
Thank you very much, Tara. Probably before from your end, you leave Dr. Ouno, kindly, is there any clarity you'd wish to give before we get back to the president?
Yes, I think. Yes, thank you so much, Ross. I think there was something about sectional properties that mentioned.
Yes.
I think I went offline and when I came back, I had you mention something about sectional properties. I suspect that.
Yes, our senior surveyor, Julius. Julius, would you like to clarify your question so that Dr. can respond in terms of the area section properties which had already been issued with titles and already georeferenced? Julius, if you could hear us, just the clarifying one.
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes, kindly proceed.
Yeah, he had talked about sectional units that had been registered earlier that were at around law was used.
Yes.
So what I was saying was that we have done over 4,000 sectional titles, which were based on georeferenced cadastral plans.
Yes.
And the titles were issued. So those ones were not issued under any wrong law. Only those ones that were issued under wrong law were those titles that were issued under RDA. So those ones which were properly issued under the Sectional Property Act of 1987 should actually be uploaded to the system because the correct law was used. That is all.
Dr. over to you.
Okay, thank you. I think then that clarity is okay because I think I was referring to the same thing. I was saying you talk about those properties that were registered as long-term leases that will georeference, but the rest of them that were georeferenced in line with the Section of Properties Act of 1986, I think that should be that should be okay. Then as far as Ndugu report is concerned, I think the new report is not really an official government document. But as a ministry, we have gone through a very rigorous data cleaning process. That is why all the data you'll be seeing on the platform are those that have been certified as clean. We have locked out data that we feel is still not clean. And that is why we're saying that at one point or the other, we'll even invite property owners for the sake of uploading the documents to come and maybe verify. Like we had an advert to do with Block 110, which you must have seen on the papers. So we are really keen on having only clean data on the platform. Any other data will not be available for transaction for now. We will we have those that have encroached into public land, but we cannot say that all those parcels of land will be reverted to government because it's the same government that gave land to the owners that you're talking about. So at some point we look at rationalize the situation as it were now. And that's why we're saying that on whether or not public land will still be in the hands of private individuals, that is a matter that will still require debates and decision making will be a result of serious stakeholder engagement before we can talk about what we know about regularization or the cleaning process normally used in government. But as far as the data we have right now is concerned, we're talking about only those that are clean, that are available on the platform. And then the other question that I think has been very, very prominent in this discussion is the search process. Why we insist that one can only do a search, the process can only be complete if the owner verifies. I think, as we know, right now we have a Data Protection Act in place. That is Data Protection Act number 24 of 2019. And the principles outlined in part 4 of that act, I think, bars from allowing malicious access to personal data. I think we should read section 24 of that particular act. So, and of course, other provisions in law that bars, of course, from allowing misuse of data. I think anybody who is interested in genuine transactions on land, if it is, for example, for a professional and they would want that particular search to be done, we have exemption protocols that are given as a ministry. That should be catered for, because right now we even have a provision for searches conducted by investigative agencies like DCI and EACC. So if we have a genuine search process that is needed for other purposes, that of course may not necessarily require the consent of the owner of that particular, but then of course an exemption protocol has to be followed so that we are in compliance with the Data Protection Act. Thank you so much for organizing this particular webinar. I hope we'll have further engagements. I think, as Mwadhani has indicated, this is work in progress. And we actually using this particular, this feedback that you get from you to upgrade or to improve on the system, as it were. I'm sure that with time, most of these issues that we raised will be ironed out. We should be able to have a very good platform. I think this is a very significant transform in so much as far as land management in Kenya is concerned, and we should work together to embrace it. Thank you.
Daktari, thank you very much. I'm seeing Wafula Namtori, your hand has been up. Please, 1 minute. We are over time. Now, Wafula Namtora, 1 minute.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam CEO, and thank you, everybody. First, congratulations. It will be 1 minute, but let me make 1 long minute. First, well done that this is happening. Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed. 1 minute is over.
Yeah, okay. No, 1 minute is not over yet. The sensitization process is not an event, it will be a process. So congratulations, Dr. Uno, for doing that. There will have to be education and re-education, the same way we do like Guinness. Every day when you watch TV or radio, you'll see people talking about Guinness. People drink Guinness, but every day so that people get to understand that we are actually transforming the land sector in a way that is favorable to all people, especially the Wanjikos. The last thing I want to say is the issue of handoffs. By digitization, the question is, how many processes have we eliminated? Because I think that's the key. How many processes have we eliminated that were part of the, they're no longer there, and therefore we are more confident when we are transacting in land? That is really the question I wanted to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nabutola, for your comment and question. Hope that can be responded to, but I wish to ask that you continue checking the chat. I think Karoi has been very good in responding, but Dr. Ouno, to you, there was a question on the Dongo land report. There was a question, I'm just trying to check where I wrote, which and been asked, whether the land which was under Dongo land report is on the platform. Probably 1 minute before we go to the president and closing remarks. I mean, vote of thanks by Eric. Oh, no, kindly.
Yes, I think Rose have indicated that the Ndungu land report is not a public document, because as a public officer, I'm not authorized to speak on a document that is not public.
Thank you for that emphasis. I just wanted the member to be certain.
What I can tell you for sure is that we do not have unquestionable data on the platform. The data that we have on the platform is clean. And I've said that public lands that have been intruded into, of course,
have been locked out of transaction. If any process of regulation has to be done, that will really be a process of rigorous stakeholder engagement that has not yet been done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eric. Please continue sharing with us the schedules of rolling out to other areas. And now our President, over to you before we invite Eric for a vote of thanks. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Rose, and members, YSK, and also the team from the ministry. I think it has been a very insightful presentation, although virtually, but I think we've all learned a lot. I think I had a few questions myself, but in the course of the interaction, I think most of them were answered. But I think what still stands out is the search, because valuers are concerned that they don't only do valuations for lending, but there is a for-sale valuations that the owner may not be cooperative. So I think maybe that's what Dr. Uno and your team would want to look at, and the exemption provisions, so that transition and valuers are facilitated to continue doing valuations. I think I also know I know your team is working very hard on it, but I think if we have a week, maximum 2, so that as we move along with everybody else and have interaction and use of the system, all the key stakeholders and professionals are in the system. Finally, I think I would want to maybe suggest one thing that is maybe not related to the system. I think as a country, we are struggling a lot with non-professionals who have encroached into the land sector. My view is this system may provide a platform where the members of the public are able to access the professionals who are trained, competent, and also in good standing. So maybe Dr. Una and your team, maybe you could explore having linkages with the professional associations where the membership database is linked. So if I'm looking for a planner, I'm able to see from the RDSASA who are the planners, a surveyor, and any professional dealing in land, we have linked, and that would be the contribution that maybe the country and the ministry would be able to contribute in the professionalizing the land sector by weeding out non-professionals. So I think we can discuss on that. I think the other thing we've said is a system that is in progress, and it is transforming how our processes in land administration and management. So I think our comments today would help to improve, but I think we should also have an opportunity as we continue to use and access the system to give our views where we think you can improve on it. One aspect was the one on the survey assistance. I'm glad that you've answered it, because many members have asked me about it. But I think for members, we want to encourage more people to move to license as opposed to staying in the assistant status. I think that would give a boost on the professionals available to provide valuation, not valuation, but survey in the licensed category. So I think mine is to say thank you, everybody. Thank you for finding time to be in this session, and a big thank you to the Ministry of Lands team, and we look forward to more interaction as we move ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President, for your wonderful comments and remarks. I'm sure the ministry has taken note of that, and kindly I'll encourage all our members to check their chat for the responses from one and only Karoi, who has been very helpful to us. What can I say? I would just want to say thank you, but it is not for me to say thank you other than invite our senior member of the council, Eric Nyandimo, to say a word of thank you to everyone. You're most welcome, Eric.
Thank you very much, Madam CEO.
members present at this particular meeting, and on behalf of the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, the president represented here, I would like to take this chance to pass our vote of thanks to the CS, Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning, Madam Farida Karonei and her team, Victor Uno and Stella, plus others who remain faceless but are working behind the scenes to ensure that this particular event has taken place. Members, this event is being taken as one of informing us about the system that has been developed. And as we have said here, that the system is still in its inception. It is still undergoing development, and it requires a feedback mechanism, which really should be open and agreeable to the system developers and the ministry as such, so that we can feed back into the system and improve on the system. It is not going to be perfect from day one, and we need to be clear on that. That if you look across the world, systems take a time in order for them to get to be stable. So the people who are developing the system, the ministry must be open to receive the comments that are coming from the professionals, because they are the ones who need to be able to use the system, and their comments are key in ensuring the success of the system. In this meeting, we have had close to 400 members present. We were trying to beat the lawyers who were about at 1,200. So we've just managed a third of that. But I know that this session was mainly for the land surveyors, and there's a session that will be organized later on for the valuers once the items that have been discussed in this particular meeting are taken care of, so that they can also be able to access the system and upgrade their status to the license level, so that they can be able to undertake the tasks that they need to be able to do within the system. As this system is being developed, let's be guided by the electronic system regulations that have been developed. And I think our president has made reference to certain issues. And I think also members have made a reference to certain issues. And it would be important that reference is made to those particular regulations, because they should be able to guide how this system should be developed, how this system should be deployed, and how it can actually enable all of us to benefit from this system, which we must say is long overdue. And we congratulate all those who have been involved in its development, and we ask you to sustain the process to ensure that this can actually succeed. So once again, on behalf of the members, on behalf of the president, I would like to pass our vote of thanks to all of you who have been here present to educate the members, and we look forward to engaging with you. Actually, it would be necessary for us to have a small team coming in from ISK to sit down with the developers and go one-on-one on some of the issues that our members will or have already identified, so that we can ensure that all those issues are taken care of. So thank you very much, Madam CEO. Back to you.
Thank you, Eric, and to all of us, thank you, and thank you to you for the vote of thanks. And for me, to you, is just to speak a word of blessing upon you. May God bless you. May God shine his light upon you. May you be prosperous in whatever we do. Amen and amen. Have a nice afternoon. This is the end of our session today. It's bye-bye from us at ISK. Bye-bye.